So you tell your spouse that you're going to cook them a special dinner, and they reply with, "I hope you're cooking steak." And you say, "Yes, of course." And then you realize, "I don't know how to cook steak." Hello, I'm Jonathan Elder. Today I'm going to be informing you on how to grill the perfect steak. It is very simple to cook a high quality steak at home. Today we're going to be discussing how to actually go out there and pick out the proper piece of meat, how to prepare it, and lastly, how to cook it. So let's dive right in and learn about some steaks. There's an article in the Financial Times called "There's a Lot at Stake with Steak." This article is written by Lee Riley, and she simply wrote, "The first and cardinal rule with steak is to simply buy the best you can." So that tells me you need a high quality piece of meat. I like to get ribeye. Ribeye is a nice, tender piece of meat, and it actually has a lot of marble inside as well. And when you cook this marble, it's going to turn into juices, and it's going to make your steak a lot more moist. The cut of meat also plays a big role. You don't want to buy the pre-packaged steaks. They're a little thin. They're about 3/4 of an inch. The way we cook our steaks, you want your steak at about 1.5 inches. You can get this done at any local grocery store. Just go back and tell the butcher that you want a steak cut at 1.5 inches. Alright, so now you got your steak, you get home, and now it's time to get it ready. We're going to use a nice light marinade, something to give it flavor but not overpower it. So go get a bowl or get a bag and place the following ingredients inside, and we're going to use 1/4 cup of each ingredient. That's soy sauce, Worcestershire sauce, balsamic vinegar, and olive oil. Mix it up and place your steak in there, and then put it in the fridge for about 2 hours. No more than 2 hours, because again, we don't want to overpower our steak. After 2 hours, get your steak out and kind of dab off the remaining, and then you're going to put a nice rub on it. And what I mean by that is simply just sprinkling it with seasonings. I like to use Grill Mates steak rub. It's got a nice pepper flavor to it. Just give it an even coat on both sides of the steak. Alright, so now your steak is ready. It's time to go fire up that grill. Do not be intimidated to cook on the grill. We're going to be cooking on high and direct heat. So if you have a gas grill, you want your knobs turned all the way on high, and you're going to be cooking directly on the flame. If you have a charcoal grill, wait till your coals turn white, and then you're going to be cooking directly on the coals. Cooking on direct heat is going to do what we call sear the steak. It gives it a nice outside coating that's going to harden into a crust, and it's going to lock all them juices in for you. We're going to be cooking our steak at 14 minutes, and this is going to have your steak turn out to a medium temperature. You're going to cook each side for 7 minutes. I also like to rotate my steak in between about every 3.5 minutes. So pick it up and rotate it 90 degrees. What that's going to do is going to give you them perfect grill marks that are crossed that you're always looking for. There's an article in the Wall Street Journal called "How to Cook a Perfect Steak." This article was written by Vora Shivani. She simply wrote, "The chef says a thermometer will pierce the meat and allow the juices to run out." This is so true. You can do that when you're cooking low and slow, but when you're cooking on high and direct heat, you stab that steak with a thermometer, and it's going to be like puncturing a water balloon with a needle or a knife, and your juices are going to flow out, and your steak is going to be dry. Same thing if you're turning your steak with a fork. Make sure you're using tongs or a spatula. Alright, so now you get your steak off the grill and place it on your table. You actually want to wait about 5 minutes, because same concept. You go in there and cut your steak, all your juices are going to pour out. Alright, I know you're starving, so let's go ahead and wrap up what we talked about today. We talked about how to grill the perfect steak, how to go out there and pick out the proper piece of meat, how to prepare it, and lastly, how to cook it. Take what you've learned today, go home, and surprise your spouse or your significant other with a nice steak dinner prepared at home.